So let's talk about this wellness trend that's been quietly, and I mean quietly, taking over social media. It's this whole movement that's built on comfort, on balance, and on these tiny little habits that are, believe it or not, having a huge impact. Let's dive right in. Okay, quick question for you. Have you found yourself making some very specific lifestyle changes lately? Like maybe you've started reaching for warm water instead of your go-to iced coffee. Or maybe you've got this new super strict rule about putting on house slippers the absolute second you walk in the door. If any of that is ringing a bell, trust me, you are not alone. It turns out these habits are actually the building blocks of this much bigger wellness movement that's popping up everywhere. We're talking about a whole routine built on these simple, almost cozy rituals. Warm water instead of cold drinks, having those dedicated slippers for inside, and even exploring ancient practices like Qigong for a little bit of balance. And if this sounds like you, well, the internet has officially given it a name. You just might be living what people are calling a very Chinese time in your life. Yeah, what started out as this kind of niche inside joke has just bloomed into a full-blown global lifestyle trend. It's really tapping into this cultural curiosity that's been bubbling up for a while now. But hang on, where did that super specific phrase even come from? I mean, a very Chinese time in your life? The origin story is actually pretty wild, and you'll never guess where it starts. In a 90s cult classic movie. That's right, Fight Club. The phrase is this really clever parody of that iconic, super moody line from the movie. The original line is all about, chaos and intensity and, well, fighting. But of course, social media did what it does best. People took that line, swapped out the word strange for Chinese, and in doing so, they created a whole new meaning. A meaning that's all about finding calm, order, and wellness, which is pretty much the exact opposite of what the movie was about. And this timeline just shows you how fast an idea can catch fire online. It first pops up on X, formerly Twitter, in April 2025. By the end of the year, it's already snowballing across Western social media. Then, by early 2026, it lands on China's big platform, Weibo, and becomes this huge topic of conversation. And now, it's a global thing. All right, so who's actually doing this, and what does it really look like day to day? Let's take a look at the people who are really leading the charge here. So a huge reason this trend has grown so much is because of young Chinese American creators. They're right at the forefront, posting stuff that's super funny, but also really welcoming. Their whole vibe isn't about gatekeeping the culture at all. It's the opposite. It's encouraging with this message that basically says, hey, we're here for you in this very Chinese time of your life. It's so inviting. And people are totally responding to that. I mean, look at this comment from a user named Elizabeth. It shows how people from outside the culture are finding real, actual benefits. She just started with Qigong and warm water, and she says she's already feeling better and wants to do more. And then there's this comment, which just perfectly captures the spirit of it all. 3 pairs of house shoes. I love that. It really highlights that mix of humor and genuine dedication that defines the whole trend. People aren't just trying it out for a day. They're really committing. And it's not just about these wellness habits either. It's also about sharing culture, especially food. Get this. A single TikTok of someone just eating dumplings, using the trend's hashtag, pulled in over 1.2 million views in just 1 month. It just goes to show you that people are hungry for these authentic cultural moments. Okay, so this all brings up a really, really important question. While people in the West are embracing this new lifestyle, what's the reaction like in China? Seriously, how is this trend being seen in the very country where drinking hot water and wearing house slippers, well, it isn't a trend, it's just normal everyday life? Are people offended by it? Are they amused? Are they flattered? What's the feeling on the ground? So here's the crucial part. The reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. And that really stands out when you compare it to other times cultures have borrowed from each other. Think about the whole Zen interior design trend. That sometimes gets criticized because it can feel like it's misinterpreting a really deep philosophy and just turning it into an aesthetic. This very Chinese time trend feels different, mainly because it's being led by people from within the culture, and it feels like authentic, respectful sharing. And at the absolute heart of this positive vibe is this really powerful feeling, validation. It's this sense that all this everyday cultural wisdom, things you might do without even thinking about it, is suddenly being seen and appreciated and really valued by people all over the world. These practices that were just taken for granted are now being seen as really thoughtful ways to take care of yourself. And this sentiment from Chinese social media just sums it up perfectly. There's this feeling that it's a sweet coincidence and that it's very heartwarming to see other people embracing these same practices. It's not seen as appropriation. It feels more like a shared human connection. It's beautiful, really. Now, this positive reception isn't just happening in a vacuum. The incredible success of this trend is deeply, deeply connected to these much broader shifts happening in global culture right now. Right? Why this? Why now? Why has this particular set of habits caught on with so much force at this exact moment? What has changed in the world that's made everyone so open to having a Chinese time in their life? Well, the data actually gives us a pretty big clue. In 2025, China moved past the UK to rank second in the Global Soft Power Index. And what that really means is there's this growing cultural influence and curiosity around the world, especially with young people. That creates the perfect environment for a trend just like this one to absolutely flourish. And there have been a few key things that have really acted like fuel on the fire. You have people migrating to the Chinese lifestyle app Xiaohongshu or Red Note after TikTok bans, which gives them a direct window into the culture. Then you've got global influencers visiting and showing off this really modern China, new visa-free travel policies making it easier to go see for yourself, and this online explosion of easy-to-make Chinese recipes. It's all creating this surge of curiosity. And for some people, this trend is way more than just a trend. It's a gateway. Take Alex from Quebec. He said, "I think it's finally China's turn." For him, it started with hot water and playing mahjong, but that curiosity just kept growing until he actually ended up moving to China for a job. He's going, in his own words, further than just hot water and slippers. And that is the real takeaway here, isn't it? These simple, super accessible habits, drinking warm water, wearing house slippers, they're really just an entry point. They're the very, very tip of this vast, diverse cultural iceberg, just inviting people to dive in and discover so much more. So, this all leaves us with a pretty fascinating question for the future, right? In a world where an entire culture can go viral in just a few months, building all these bridges and sparking so much curiosity, what comes next? Where does it all go from here?